The craziest part is that there's a city of 60,000 people right here, right next to us. And this city is the highest inhabited place on Earth.
The future was supposed to be bright and full of high-tech cities. But now, some urban spaces feel more like punishment than progress. These 30 examples of urban hell on Earth capture the raw reality of life where dreams have died. The deeper you go, the worse it gets. And the last one on the list? It's something you truly have to see to believe. Number 30. Mie Diamond Mine. Imagine standing at the edge of a hole so wide and deep, it feels like the Earth just gave way. That is not science fiction. It is real, and it sits in Siberia. Known as the Mie Diamond Mine, it is one of the biggest holes ever dug by humans.
The flood occurred when more than 100 miners were working inside the Mir pit in eastern Siberia.
The mine stretches almost 4,000 feet across and drops more than 1,700 feet into the ground. It was opened in 1955 during the Soviet era. At one point, it was pulling out around 10 million carats of diamonds every year. That is a huge amount of stone coming from one place. While open-pit mining stopped in 2004, work still goes on underground. The mine is so big and deep that the air above it is unsafe for helicopters. Some have been sucked in because of the strange airflow. It is hard to believe something man-made could reshape the ground like this. Number 29. Russia's human anthill. If you thought your apartment building was crowded, wait until you see this. In Kudrovo, Russia, there is a massive oval-shaped apartment block that stretches farther than the eye can follow. Built in 2015, it is part of a huge housing project called the Novi Okkervil Complex. This giant structure holds 3,708 apartments and has 35 different entrances. That alone makes it the biggest residential building in the country.
This place right here houses the population of a small city. I mean, this place is massive.
It finally caught global attention in 2021, not just because of its size, but also because of how people reacted to it. Some say it looks like a human anthill. Packed with people, noise, and movement, it can feel like everyone is living on top of each other. Estimates say that between 11,000 and 18,000 people live in this one building. It is a place full of life, but it also brings a question to mind. What would happen if a fire broke out in a place this crowded? Let us know what you think in the comments. Number 28. Electrical wiring and pipes in Brazilian favela. Some setups scream trouble from the start. This is one of them. In this Brazilian favela, the wiring and water pipes twist together like a giant web. Everything is crammed into the same space. The walls are crowded, lines run in every direction, crossing each other, pushed into corners that were never built for this. There's no real order to any of it, just survival. That's all this is. People doing whatever they can to get electricity and running water. But this setup is dangerous. One wrong move, one exposed wire, and the whole thing could go up in flames. Fires have destroyed entire favelas before. Some believe these fires don't always start by accident. There are people who think short circuits are started on purpose, because the homes here don't pay taxes. And since they are not officially part of the system, they don't get protection either. Number 27. Highway in Naples, Italy. You can tell just by looking that this place doesn't get quiet easily. The street, which is in Naples, Italy, shows a strange mix of city and home. The structure doesn't sit beside the road. It sits beneath it. The highway cuts right through where people live, right outside their balconies. The sound must be constant during the day. The echo of trucks, the rumble of cars. It's hard to imagine anyone getting real sleep with that kind of noise pouring in. Some say the city closes that stretch of highway at night, maybe from evening until early morning. That would give the people who live nearby a break. But even then, the space feels tight. The highway above never really leaves. It just waits there until the next round of traffic. Number 26. Mansura, Egypt. It almost looks like a wall made out of books, each one squeezed into place. But take a closer look, and you will see this isn't a library. It's loud, it's busy, and it's packed with signs. This street in Mansura, Egypt, is crammed with medical clinics, dozens of them, maybe more. The signs stretch across nearly every floor, each one pointing to a different doctor or service. Some are bright, others are fading. Every window seems to have one hanging next to it, making the whole building look cluttered and rushed. Each clinic is just an apartment turned into a waiting room and a small office. People come here for quick checkups or treatment. There isn't much space. The building doesn't rest, and as long as people need help, those doors will keep opening. Number 25. Dusty Slum in Cairo. Have you ever looked at a city from above and feel like the buildings are closing in on each other? That's what this looks like. It's not rock, not concrete slabs, but at first glance, it almost seems like a chunk of weathered granite pressed tight. This is Mbaba, a district in Cairo. What you are seeing is not planned housing. It is an informal settlement packed together with barely any space in between. There are no trees, no small gardens, no open patches of green. The buildings are dry and worn, with flat rooftops and little color. It stretches far in every direction, almost like the buildings have melted into one another. The air quality in this part of the city is said to be really bad. Without plants or trees to help, the pollution hangs in the air. It is a tight, restless kind of living, boxed in from every side. Number 24. Apartments in Hong Kong. Buildings in Hong Kong seem to touch the clouds, but this isn't about style or luxury. It's about space, or more like the lack of it. This apartment is one of many in Hong Kong, a city packed with more than 7 million people, all of that inside just 424 square miles. That kind of pressure leaves no room for wide houses or open yards, so the only way left to build is up, way up.
Now this is an apartment complex, there's businesses on the bottom. This is the craziest apartment in the world.
Floor after floor of tiny apartments stacked in narrow towers, rising through smog and heat. Some buildings stretch past 40 floors. Elevators are a daily part of life, but the thought of one dropping from that high? That crosses people's minds too. Living so far from the ground might be normal here, but it comes with its own quiet tension. Number 23. Small city in China. Have you ever seen a place where everything looks copy-pasted? That is what hits you first when looking at this city. Row after row of the same buildings, standing tall like identical blocks. At first glance, it almost feels organized, even calming. But after a while, the sameness becomes hard to ignore. This is a residential area in a smaller Chinese city. Here, small still means nearly 500,000 people. That means space is tight and demand is high. The solution? Stack everyone into tall apartment buildings that all look nearly the same. It is fast, efficient, and gets the job done. But something about it also feels cold. There is greenery below and wide paths for walking. From a distance, it seems well planned, but once you look closer, the lack of variety becomes clear. A few changes in design could have made the place feel more alive. Number 22. Ogbogblashie, Ghana. That smoke in the air is not from cooking fires or traffic. It is from burning plastic, metal, and old wires. This is Ogbogblashie in Ghana. It is known as one of the world's largest electronic waste dumps. Every year, about 15,000 tons of broken phones, computers, and other electronics are dumped here. A lot of it comes from other countries, including ones in the West.
The most apparent pollutant is the acrid fumes coming from the burning plastic, as people are stripping away the plastic coating from wires to get to the metal.
Once the devices arrive, they are broken down by hand or burned to get the parts inside. Many people who work here are young and wear little or no protection. Breathing in the smoke or touching the chemicals puts their health at risk. The ground is dark with waste. Even the water near the site is affected. This place shows the real cost of trying to get rid of electronic junk. Number 21. City of Imbalance. You look one way and see shiny towers with glass windows. Turn your head and suddenly, it is a sea of rusty rooftops packed tight like puzzle pieces. This is Mumbai, the financial center of India. It is also one of the richest cities on the planet. But in the same space where wealth grows fast, poverty sits right next to it. The photo shows it clearly. On one side, tall luxury buildings rise high into the sky. On the other, dense slums stretch across the ground. The difference is sharp. Many of these slum areas, like Dharavi, are some of the largest in the world. Homes are built so close that walking between them can feel like moving through a maze. Water, power, and clean toilets can be hard to find. And still, people live and work there every day, surrounded by wealth they will likely never touch. Number 20. Labua Hotels and Resorts in Thailand.
Hello, actually from Labua Hotel Estate Tower. Actually, it's very great honor to have this award.
It looks organized, clean, almost too perfect. And somehow, that's what makes it feel off. This is the balcony facade of Labua Hotels and Resorts in Thailand. At first glance, it looks grand. Some might say even beautiful. The rooms are big, and the views stretch far across the city. But the way the balconies are lined up makes it feel packed. Every level looks the same. Each balcony is shaped the same way. They stretch along the building without a break, almost like there was no other design option. To some people, it might feel exciting. To others, it might feel like too much. So many repeating shapes, all crammed into the side of one structure. It's almost dizzying. In a place built to impress, it somehow ends up feeling tight and unwelcoming. Number 19. Petare, Venezuela. You might think the view from the hills would be beautiful. In Petare, that view comes with a harsh reality. Petare sits just outside Caracas, the capital of Venezuela. It is one of the biggest slums in South America. Homes are stacked closely together, built on steep hills and old landfills. Many of these structures are shaky and made from scrap material. A lot of people here live without clean water or proper sanitation. Streets twist sharply, and some areas are so tight that cars cannot even pass through. In the daytime, the area is alive with movement. Barrios buzz with activity as people try to earn a living in whatever way they can. But at night, things change. Petare becomes one of the most dangerous places in Venezuela, with crime running high and murder rates soaring. The government has tried to help, but progress comes slow. The problems here go deep. Number 18. Romanita Collective Housing Tower. You might think this was an art project, but it is a real place people call home. Known as the Romanita Collective Housing Tower, this 73-meter-high tower is located in Chisinau, Moldova. Built between 1978 and 1986, it was made to be social housing and had strict rules about the living space.
And then some looks like there's like other types of stone. The whole building was quite an architectural achievement back when it was built.
It has 2 basement levels, 1 ground floor, and 22 upper floors. Inside are 165 small apartments. Back then, families were not allowed to change anything in their units unless they had approval from local authorities. That control lasted until the 1990s. After that, the building was privatized. Owners gained more freedom. Slowly, people started changing their units. Some added homemade balconies. Over time, these changes made the tower look very different from how it was first designed. Now, it stands as a crowded and uneven example of what happens when a shared space becomes many separate ones. Number 17. Yamuna River in India. At first, it might look like the river is covered in snow, but look closer. That thick white foam isn't natural. Every day, over 500 million gallons of untreated sewage flow straight into the Yamuna River in India. On top of that, chemical dyes, industrial waste, and household detergents pour in with no filter. Factories and homes nearby release water filled with soap and phosphates. That's what creates the foam you see floating on the surface.
But the number of people killing this river must number in the millions. Everyone who openly defecates on its banks.
Even with all this, people still come. The Yamuna is deeply sacred in Hinduism. Devotees wade into the water, some completely unaware of what's floating around them. To them, it's a place of faith. But the heavy smell, the thick layer of white scum, and the stinging feel of chemicals in the air tell a different story. Number 16. Shubadia Canal. There is a canal in Bangladesh that once carried life. Now, it carries something else, and the people crossing the bridge above it can't look away. The Shubadia Canal once had a purpose. It brought water to parts of Karanaganj, a busy area in Dhaka, but that was before waste started to take over. Today, the canal stretches about 7 kilometers, but nearly half of it is filled with trash. The water is hard to see. What stands out more are the piles of plastic spread along its sides. This garbage isn't just from one source. Local clothing factories and nearby markets dump waste there often. The canal can't handle it. Day by day, the waste builds up, pushing the water out and leaving a thick layer of trash in its place. The damage keeps getting worse, and the canal keeps disappearing. Number 15. Spiral Road. Some roads are built to impress. Others feel more like a daily challenge. In Chongqing, one ramp does both. Right in front of a residential complex, this massive spiral ramp stretches 5 stories high. People who live there have no other way in or out. So, no matter the weather or traffic, they must drive around the loop just to reach the street. It is a constant routine. Chongqing is known for its steep terrain and massive size. The city holds around 30 million people. That is more than most countries. To give an idea of scale, the area is 52 times larger than London and 100 times bigger than New York. Now, as for the road, it may look impressive in photos and videos, but the people driving it each day probably have a different opinion. Number 14. Jalli. From far away, this might look colorful, but up close, it tells a harder truth. Jalli, a neighborhood in Port-au-Prince, stretches across the hillside in all directions.
From a distance, the neighborhood of Jalli looks like an artist's canvas, rich with pastel blues, reds, and yellows.
The layout is so dense and uneven that there are barely any clear roads. The houses are squeezed together, built from whatever materials people can find. This neighborhood is part of Haiti's capital, a city struggling with soaring prices, government problems, and a currency that keeps losing value. Most people here live without basic services. Clean drinking water is hard to come by. Sanitation systems are either broken or missing. When earthquakes hit, places like this get hit the hardest. The tightly packed homes offer little safety when the ground starts to shake. Jalli shows what happens when poverty meets unstable land and weak systems. It is a dangerous mix. Number 13. The Lying Skyscraper. Skyscrapers usually reach for the sky, but this one decided to lie down. Locals call it the Great Wall of Russia, or the Lying Skyscraper. It is one of the longest buildings in the world, stretching a massive 763 meters. That makes it the longest building in all of Moscow. From the outside, it looks strange. Rows of windows repeat across its flat face for what feels like forever. It almost feels like the structure was never meant to end. This building is home to the Scientific Center for Electronic and Computing Technology. It was not built all at once. Construction took place in stages between 1970 and 1975. It stands out not just because of its size, but also because it does not follow the usual style of city buildings. Even in a busy city like Moscow, a structure like this can stop people in their tracks. Number 12. UAE Nad alShiba, the third neighborhood. Imagine living in a place where every street looks the same. You walk out your door, and the house across from you looks exactly like yours. Same shape, same color, same size. That's what Nad alShiba 3 in the UAE feels like. This neighborhood was built for foreign workers who moved here from Southeast Asia, India, Pakistan, Syria, Egypt, Sudan, and other countries. They came to work, hoping to earn money and support families back home. But the jobs they got were hard, and the pay was low. They live in small houses that repeat in long rows, over and over, like pieces copied from a machine. From far away, the homes might look clean and modern, but walking through the area feels cold. Every corner feels the same. There is no color, no personality, nothing that shows the people who live inside, just endless sameness. Number 11. Houses on the roof of a mall. You probably would not expect to find villas on top of a shopping mall, but that is exactly what happened in Zhuzhou. In this city, space is hard to find. Buildings climb high, and streets are packed with people, cars, and noise. But a few residents found a way around the problem. With little land available below, they chose to build private villas on top of an 8-story shopping center. From above, it almost looks like a floating suburb. If you think that kind of creativity deserves some credit, go ahead and tap the like button. Now, the idea has surprised many. Local news and media from outside China have picked it up. People are curious about how it works and if it is actually safe. Safety is a big issue. If a fire breaks out or the elevator fails, getting out fast could be difficult. Still, for now, these rooftop homes sit above the busy city, quiet and out of reach. Number 10. Urban villages. Have you ever seen a village right in the middle of a city? Not something old or quiet, something dense, loud, and packed with life. That is what we are looking at here. These places grew fast as cities expanded. They mix parts of rural life with city growth. Most of them are tucked right inside large cities.
This is an urban village in China, in Shenzhen. How Chinese cities, at least in Guangdong province, used to be.
But they don't always feel like it. People here build close together, using whatever space they can find. Homes are stacked up. Narrow walkways twist through buildings. These spaces are usually filled with poor and migrant workers trying to make a living. Many people come here hoping for better chances in the city. Rent is cheap and jobs can be found. But the problems are serious. These places often lack basic services. Overcrowding is common. Some parts deal with crime, addiction, and poverty every day. At the same time, markets buzz, people hustle, and life pushes forward. It is a harsh place to live, but it shows how far people will go to chase new chances. Number 9. Fake Paris in China. It looks like Paris. It even has its own Eiffel Tower. But something feels strange. This is not France. It is a quiet, forgotten town in China. On the edge of Hangzhou sits Tianducheng. It was designed to look like Paris.
Entire cities designed to look like Paris, Venice, London, even Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
The plan was big. The cost? Over $1 billion. Developers built streets to match French style, including a tall replica of the Eiffel Tower. This version reaches 108 meters. That is about 1/3 the height of the real one in Paris. The goal was to give people in China a feel of French life without leaving the country. But things did not go as planned. The streets are quiet. Buildings sit mostly empty. The buzz they hoped for never came. Few tourists show up. Most residents have stayed away. What was meant to feel romantic now feels strangely silent. Number 8. Magnetogorsk. Factories helped build this city. Now they are slowly poisoning it. Magnetogorsk, in western Russia, stands as one of the most polluted cities in the entire country. In the air, you can smell the sharp bite of chemicals. A thick haze often hangs over the skyline, and people have learned to live under it. But the damage runs deep. Only 28% of the children born here are considered fully healthy. Back in the 1930s, one of Russia's largest steel and iron factories was built here. It played a big role in World War II, supplying half the steel used to make Russian tanks. But that came at a price. At its peak, the factory released around 650,000 tons of waste every year. That included 68 different toxic chemicals, polluting nearly 4,000 square miles. Even now, the pollution has not stopped. The factories still run, and local officials say they do not have the money or resources to fix it. Number 7. Concrete wasteland. From above, it looks like the buildings never end. Just row after row of tall gray towers stacked close together. It almost feels like the ground disappeared under all that concrete. This is a packed residential zone somewhere in China. It is full of high-rise apartments built close to each other.
Apartment complexes become the most popular type of home and quickly multiply, transforming the area into a huge cement forest.
In the middle of it, there is a school. You can see students gathered in the courtyard and scattered across the sports field. That space might be one of the only open areas for blocks. Places like this are built to fit millions of people in one city. There is barely any space left unused. The buildings look the same, and the walls feel like they are closing in. Some call this a concrete jungle. One look, and it is easy to see why. Number 6. Hotel in Łódź, Poland. Some things in a city just do not match, and this is one of them. In the city of Łódź, Poland, there is a hotel sitting right next to an old power plant. The two buildings are stuck together like pieces from different puzzles. It is a strange mix of new and old, clean and rusty. The hotel stands tall and modern, while the power plant looks worn out and abandoned. Even though the plant shut down a long time ago, it has not been torn down. That is because it is under curator protection, which means it is considered important for historical or cultural reasons. Developers bought the site with big plans to give it a new purpose, but nothing has changed. The power plant is still there, empty and unused, while the hotel operates right beside it. It is an odd site, and it raises questions about progress, planning, and how cities deal with their past. Number 5. New Delhi pollution. There is a photo that shows New Delhi during lockdown beside how it looks now. During the lockdown, the skies were clear, and you could see far into the distance. But now, a thick layer of smog has settled back in. It makes the sky look dull and heavy. Most of the pollution comes from burning crop stubble in nearby villages. Farmers do this every year around October to clear their fields after rice harvesting. It saves time, but it fills the air with smoke.
Every winter, it's blanketed in smog as cold, heavy air traps dust and pollution.
The Himalayas block the smoke from moving north. Seasonal winds push it south into the city. Temperature differences trap it low in the air, making it hard to escape. On top of that, more cars on the roads add to the problem. The result is a city wrapped in smog, with no easy fix in sight. Until serious changes are made, the air will stay thick, and the sky will stay gray. Number 4. The Regent International Apartment Building. Some buildings are tall, others are wide, but this one is both, and it holds a city's worth of people. The towering 39-story structure stands in Tianjiang Century City. At first, it was supposed to be a luxury hotel, but those plans changed. Now it holds thousands of apartments and is home to over 20,000 people. The building is often called dystopian because of its size and packed layout.
This is the Regent International Apartment Building in Hangzhou, China.
Everything a person might need is built right into the complex. From shops to gyms, it is all there. You could live your whole life inside and never need to leave. For some, that might sound like convenience. For others, it might feel like a maze with no way out. Number 3. Burge Albabas. It was supposed to be a dream project. Now it feels more like a forgotten film set. This strange place, known as Burge Albabas, is not far from the Black Sea.
Burge Albabas was supposed to be a luxurious resort community.
The plan was big. A luxury housing project with 587 small castles, all packed close together like a fairy tale village. But things went wrong. In 2019, the developers went bankrupt. Construction stopped. The homes were left unfinished. Now, the whole area sits quiet. Empty walls, broken windows, overgrown paths. The place feels frozen in time. Some people say it looks like a village built for gnomes. That is not far off. The towers, domes, and pointed roofs feel more like something from a dream than real life. What was meant to bring in wealthy buyers turned into a strange reminder of what can happen when big dreams crash hard. Number 2. Plastic trees. You expect trees to grow from the ground, not be made out of plastic. A photo went around online showing a row of plastic trees placed right down the middle of a wide 4-lane highway. The trees were not real, and they were not fooling anyone either. They looked out of place, almost cartoon-like. People noticed right away. Many said it showed how far things have gone in some modern cities. It is believed the photo came from the United Arab Emirates. The area is known for its hot, dry desert climate. But even in those conditions, using real desert plants is possible. Things like native shrubs or drought-resistant trees could have made more sense. Instead, the fake decorations just sat there, offering no shade, no life, and no help to the environment. This shows how sometimes design choices are made for show rather than for what actually works. Number 1. Hong Kong's human storage units. There are people who live in apartments, and there are others who live in cages. In Hong Kong, thousands of poor residents are crammed into small wire cages that barely fit a mattress.
Hong Kong is an amazing city for tourism, but when you think about the reality of hundreds of thousands of locals living in places like this.
These cages are stacked inside overcrowded rooms, packed floor to ceiling. And believe it or not, many people still pay high rent just to sleep there. Even though Hong Kong is one of the richest cities in Asia, a huge part of the population lives in what officials call inadequate housing.
It's more expensive to live in Hong Kong than anywhere in the world.
But that label does not even come close to describing the reality. In some buildings, you will find as many as 30 cages in a single room, just metal bars, thin bedding, and almost no space to move. The United Nations has even called these conditions an insult to human dignity, and it is easy to see why. If you are still with us and want more content like this, thank you for watching. See you in the next video.